There's only one hero who possesses the strength, the skill, and the courage.
I see what's going on here.
To save the world single-handedly. Glover! Strength? Glover's got the magic and the moves to mash big bad bosses. Skill? Glover's got the brains to solve mind-boggling puzzles. And talk about courage? Glover's got the to handle any challenge. Glover! For Nintendo 64 and PC CD-ROM. Gotta love the glove.
Oh man, I'm surprised I don't remember that commercial. That's great. Anyway, good evening folks. Hope you all had a good work week. If you guys aren't up to date on the stream, last time me and Steffi played Mario Kart, which was Mario Kart 64, which, by the way, once again, thank you for all the views on that video. I of course won the match, but I gave her another chance to add a game to the stream with a round of battle, which she again won. So tonight we're crossing that game off the list and we're playing Glover. This game was released in 1998 exclusively for the Nintendo 64, though later a PC version and a greatly inferior PS1 version would also be released. It was created by Interactive Studios and Hasbro's video game department, and Interactive Studio would eventually become known as Blitz Games, who are probably best known for the work on the Frogger series over on the PS1. And despite this game being, a one-off game, like it didn't become a series or anything, despite intentions for that to be the case, Glover has sort of entered a weird space within the video game community. It's not necessarily a beloved game, but it is one that a lot of people have played. I have very vague memories of when Glover came out. I think I saw a few of the commercials. I do distinctly remember renting it from Blockbuster back in the day. And to be honest, I don't actually remember playing Glover, though. I remember bits and pieces of it when we had it, but I don't remember a whole lot about it. So this is something I've actually wanted to revisit for a while now, especially considering I'm such a big fan of the N64. So I'm kind of glad that Steffi picked this one. It gives me an excuse to look at it. As to how I'm going to be playing this game, I'm going to be playing it off my good old N64. But what I didn't realize was that Glover actually has been re-released and is available on Steam, remastered for a new generation. I thought about picking this up too, but I spent the exact same amount it costs on the N64 card. Thank you again, Software Seconds. And to be honest, playing the game to collect notes for the video, I didn't really enjoy Glover a whole lot, so I didn't feel like double dipping for this live stream. So we're just going to play it on the N64. So let's go ahead, boot up the game, make sure the sound's coming in. And to be honest, yep, we are good. Let's get this started. Blitz Games, pretty middle-of-the-road developer, all things considered. Good C-tier developer, mostly licensed games is what they've worked on. And I do like how Glover interacts with the logo there. That's something they did a lot with games back in the day. I remember them doing that a lot with the LucasArts logo in Star Wars games. And a pretty good title screen right off the back, too. The graphic design of the logo is pretty good. You always want to design a logo in the manner in which you say it, Glover. So the way they put emphasis on the O there, as well as just how cartoony the lettering looks, it's pretty well done. And also, it gives you a good peek into the general graphics of the game. Glover was a later game in the N64's life cycle, and I gotta say, it actually does hold up pretty well graphically. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it's a fun menu screen too. Just gonna go ahead and start the game. Just go ahead and start a new game. let's see here. B S P Bladeslinger plays. And we'll just play on normal. Again, that is a really well-rendered castle for N64 standards. So we got a wizard with potions, who is just called the Wizard. Oh no, this can't be good. The accidents. Oh no. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Ooh. Okay, so yeah, Glover actually has a story, and to be honest, it's a surprisingly creative one. I mean, it is just context for the gameplay, but it's really good context. It puts into perspective everything that's a part of the game. Why is the glove alive? It's a magic glove. You don't need to know much more than that. What's the significance of the balls? That's what you're trying to, bring back to the castle to restore it. And it also explains where the main villain came from. Simple but effective. I really like it. Also gotta say, I really love Glover's design too. Like the way he walks and the fact that he's a 4-finger glove. That's just really good. Okay, so screwed that up, now it's a desolate wasteland. And what's cool about this is as you play the game, in complete objectives, this haze will disappear and it'll start to look more like it was in the opening of the game, which is pretty cool. So we got our first ball over here, and this is a main component of the game. Now, on his own, Glover honestly can't do a whole lot. He can jump and he can double jump, and he's got this cartwheel that he can do, but that's about it as far as what he can do. When you have the ball, that's really where your abilities lie. For starters, you can dribble the ball, which sort of acts as a jump. You can toss it. You can also just swat it. And you can transform the ball into different forms. You can transform it into a bowling ball, a ball bearing, and one of the crystals, each with their own properties. So the entire game is built around that moveset, and it's pretty creative. There's actually some really good ideas with Glover here. So as you saw earlier, the balls are the crystals. So the goal of the game is to try to get the crystals back to this altar. And I never realized it before, but that right there, that's actually the wizard. You remember earlier, he sort of fell through the floor and ended up down here, so that's a neat little touch. Alright, so let's get on with this adventure. I'm not a big fan of how Glover moves, though. He feels really slow by himself. And if you need a little tutorial, you can always jump in the well to do that, but I've been playing this for about a week now, so I think I got a pretty good grasp of how to play this. Feels really slow. So this is just a classic level hub right here from these days. So can't go to anyone other than this one, so let's just go for it. Okay, and now the game actually starts. So one thing I find really interesting about Glover in comparison to other platformers of the time is that it's actually a linear level-to-level game. as opposed to a 3D collect-a-thon platformer like Super Mario 64. That was kind of a rarity on N64, and I kind of appreciate that. You didn't see many linear games from this time period. Of course, when you do that, you can aim where the ball goes. So the goal of each level is, of course, to just make it to the end, but the catch is you gotta get the ball there specifically. And if anything happens to the ball, even if you're not even in contact with it, that still leads to the loss of a life, so you really want to treat the ball with care. It actually was kind of impressive for the time to have an item dictated by such complex physics, so Glover was actually doing some really impressive things for the time. Probably wouldn't have appreciated it back when I was a kid, but yeah, this is actually pretty interesting in regards to what the game expects you to do. It is a little finicky though, like you see how I'm dribbling there. Dribbling and then going into the throw there, that's mapped to the same button. And in order to keep the dribble going, you have to repeatedly hit the B button. And it's a little too easy for the game to register that you're trying to throw the ball. So sometimes you'll be dribbling and you'll accidentally go to throw the ball, which can be really aggravating. Funny story about these cards. They're called Garibs, I think they are. And that actually means something. It's some kind of a foreign word. I can't remember what it actually means. But it doesn't refer to cards or anything. But the origin of how that came about was that I think they were talking with the Japanese distributor. They sent them some portion of the game, and there was a bug with it. So they faxed them what the problem was, but there was a spelling error in it. So it sort of became an inside joke at the office, so they just decided to, dadgummit, use it for the game. Just walk it up the ramp. When you're on top of the ball, the controls also flip, which is kind of strange. Also forgot Glover can do this ground pound too, which I love the animation for. You jump, makes a fist. They were just having fun with Glover's animations here. Also love how when you lay down, he'll eventually start drumming his fingers like someone would do in Impatience. And if you walk to the edge here, like instead of, I'm about to fall, he'll just sit down. That's just adorable. Glover's just a really fun character to watch. That's the end of the first level. I can definitely see why people remember this game. Like, the look and feel of Glover, as well as just the unique gameplay in general, it is really unique. Even today, like, I can't think of many platformers like this. It stands out. Okay, if I remember correctly. You can get off the ball by hitting the Z button. I would definitely refer to it as a puzzle platformer. It definitely takes a bit more thought than a typical platformer in order to play the game. This is definitely not a speedrunner's platformer, though I'm sure people who have been playing this game for years can do some really impressive things. Oh, that. Can't even remember if I'm supposed to go up there. I'll go this way. Right here, these are checkpoints. You want to be sure you get these. Nothing more No! No! No, 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 no! Frick. It's not bad enough that just the ball fell over the edge. I fell over the edge too. Well, if it's going down, I'm going down with it, so I'll accept it. Alright, so I need to hit that switch with the ball. Unfortunately, I can't do that right now. I gotta get to dry land to do that. So if you get separated from the ball, you can also push this button in order to point it out. When you're like this, you can also change it. I just changed it to a bowling ball. When it says the bowling ball, it's heavier, so it's better for combat, but you can't throw or bounce it. But the benefit here is that it sinks, so I can go underwater. So I can scooch this over here and hit this button, which opens up our path to the exit. Now, the ball bearing also sinks underwater, but you can definitely throw this a little bit farther. So I think it might be better for me to just transform it back into a rubber ball at this point. Immediately jump to the surface. Ah, didn't mean to do that. Ha! Gotta be real precise with your button inputs here, as well as be mindful of where the ball is going in general. Now I remember what to do here. So, over the course of the game, you'll find potions around the levels that will give you special abilities. So, this makes Glover bigger and stronger, so I'm going to go over here. Now I can push this wall, so I can get to the exit. Go grab the ball, and we can move on to the next level. Actually is some decent level design in this game. I actually do really appreciate Glover's happy-go-lucky personality here. With a lot of mascot platformers that were coming out at the time, people always wanted to, give him an attitude, be like Sonic the Hedgehog, and a lot of the times it just came off as forced. I find that when characters didn't do that, like with Glover and Rocket Knight Adventures, the characters tended to be more memorable. It just goes to show that giving characters unique personalities is a lot better than, just ripping off other ones. Ah. The enemies aren't really much more than a nuisance here, which is kind of lame. But I'd rather a platformer be about, the movement than, combat. And if there must be combat in the game, at least make it work in tandem with the platforming. Which Glover does do at times. But usually not very well. This game is at its best when you're actually given the time to think your way through situations. I think the ball can only take so much punishment before it's destroyed, so you gotta be mindful of that too. So this is Speed Potion. I know I'm gonna need the ball bearing to get through this net section. So take this and suddenly you can move faster. It's also much harder to control. Controls here are just really finicky in general. It's not as fluid as I would generally like it to be. And manipulating the ball can just be cumbersome too. I kind of wish it was more like Billy Hatcher, where you had the ability to manipulate your egg, but when you were connected to it, you felt like you had more control of it, so you would move with it more fluidly. Got to transform into the ball bearing. Get through some water over here. The camera is really cumbersome too, but that's par for the course with games from this time period. Hit the switch. Starts the water wheel. Head back the way we came. Okay, I'm gonna go around this way because getting back through the water is really cumbersome. Might be wondering what the purpose of the crystal is. And basically what happens there is whenever you're using the crystal, anything you do in the game score-wise, like collecting the Garubs, the score you get from that is doubled. But there's a risk involved there too. The crystal is really fragile, so if I were to hit an enemy while I had the ball in that form, I would probably destroy it, and if that happens, I lose a life, so it's not a good idea to do that. Easy does it now. The presentation of this game is pretty strong too, and crapola. Never said I was good at this game. I just kind of get the sense in general that Glover could definitely use an extra coat of polish. I mean, it's better than other games from this era I've played. But it definitely doesn't feel as tight as I feel it should be. No, 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 no! Like every time I lose the ball like that, I panic a little bit. I want to stay away from the spikes because that'll destroy your ball, of course. You can just walk it across the water, or you can just change it to the bowling ball or the ball bearing and just go right under these guys. Take the time to grab these Garubs. If you collect them all, I think you get a extra life, which would definitely be useful right now. I'm to my last 2. Enemies like that guy are just a nuisance. That's the end of that level. Not sure why there isn't just a portal instead of this thing. That's a little odd. Can't remember. Did I hit record? Yeah, I did. Now we got a boss fight. Cross Stitch is also a cool design too. Anyone playing this game, does it remind anyone else of that movie 9 by Tim Burton with the Stitch Punks? Just me? Yeah, probably. I make a lot of weird connections. So if I remember correctly, a guy hit this guy in the side. At least to start. Where that bowling ball get off to. I missed. Kind of hard to aim in a tight spot. Gotta flip this guy over. Ah, man, I died. Thankfully, it doesn't completely reset the boss fight, which is nice. I missed my chance. Ugh. Ah, stupid crap. Maybe that's how you get out of it. You use a ground pound. Alright, last guy to deal with. Now I need the ball to deal with this guy, I believe. Ah, I missed him. The boss fights definitely aren't a bit challenged in this one, aside from one particular one. Those who have watched Nitro Rad probably know what I'm talking about. He's got a great video on Glover, by the way, so if you want more information, I highly recommend watching that. There we go. Does have a funky soundtrack too, doesn't it? Alright, let's get this back to the sanctuary. About halfway through the stream, I'm doing pretty well so far. Yes! Ah, he even gives a thumbs up, that's awesome. There actually were plans to do a sequel to Glover. They actually had a prototype that I think was like 85, 95% done before it got canceled. And the reason it got canceled was one of the guys in charge of producing the game, production-wise, ordered too many cartridges of the game. They ordered 300,000 when they intended to order 150,000. And because of that, they had a lot of unsold cartridges of Glover lying around, which was a big financial blow to the company, and because of that, they had to start cutting costs, and one of the first things they did was just cancel Glover 2. So Glover 2 got canceled because of someone's screw up, which, you know, sometimes that happens in the gaming industry. It's not quite as embarrassing as the more recent attempts to revive the series. A group of developers intended to buy the rights to Glover in order to finish the sequel, but instead of buying the copyright, which is what they really needed, they bought the trademark, which basically only gave them the rights to use the logo and name, but it didn't give them the rights to anything related to the Glover series. Like, anyone who went to business school could tell you that she wanted the copyrights, not the trademark. I don't know what those guys were thinking. Apparently they talked to some lawyers too, and those must have been some really dumb lawyers too. Glover's control on his own is a little clunky too. The play control isn't what I would call top-notch. Did not mean to pick up that ball. There's something over here. Let's go see what that is. Does this music remind anyone else of Banjo-Kazooie? Controlling Glover like this is really awkward. Really wish that they had just left the controls as they were instead of doing this weird reverse stuff. Actually, my control is crapping out on me. 1 second, guys. Do the classic method. Taking your control out and plugging it back in. And that did not solve the problem, so I got a control issue. Wonderful. Oh, I see what's happening. There's a current. Well, I gotta get back over there, so... come on, Glover! Put your palm into it, I want to say? Yeah, his palm. That's him back, right? His face is on the back of the hand, right? I'm thinking way too much about that. Come on, little guy, you're almost there. This is starting to annoy me. How'd I even fall off the edge there? Darn it! Nah, screw it. Again, it might be important. Ugh. Why is there a current here? Why are the controls reversed? Why is there a current here? Who designed this? This is more aggravating than fun. Come on, reach the platform. Yes. Alright, what is up here? I did not mean to do that. I just hit the R button. Because I'm used to that being one of the buttons that adjust the camera. This is just back where I started. Ugh. Whatever. Darn it, level designers, why'd you have to do that to me? I'm honestly not a big fan of this level. This level is more tedious than anything. Okay, so that's not it. Oh, I remember what I need to do here. We're gonna need the ball bearing for this. You open that treasure chest. There's some switches under here I need to hit. It's like you gotta get this switch, but there's a current right here that prevents you from getting it. I think people's first inclination under here is to turn the ball into the bowling ball. But if you try that, you won't be able to get into the current to reach the button. So you use the ball bearing. You can pick up enough speed to reach the button while you're in the current. So it does make you think at times like that. And that's also part of why the PlayStation version is so inferior to this version. With that version of the game, the physics of the different forms of the ball is kind of messed up, so like there's no point in turning the ball into the bowling ball versus the ball bearing other than making the ball smaller. So this puzzle is completely ruined in the PlayStation version. The PlayStation version is also significantly uglier. The N64 definitely had the edge in power. Unfortunately, it used cartridges, so despite being able to make better graphics, you could have made bigger games, so wrap your head around that one. Wait for it to go back up. Ah, crapola. Ah! Hit the button too many times. This is what I mean by how finicky the controls can be. Like in any other platformer, this would be no problem. I could just jump to these platforms. But getting the ball there and keeping it on the platform, that's a whole battle in of itself. Get back up there, Clever. Right. Ah. Get up there, Clever! Come on! Ah! It's getting on my nerves. Come on, get up on the platform. Camera bugging out on me. Ugh. This is just why I don't like this game a whole lot, because while it has a lot of unique ideas, like, the most basic and fundamental things in a platformer has suddenly become a major ordeal. Now it's in the water again. Alright, Clever. Get up the slope. Am I just gonna spend the rest of the stream on this part in particular? Well, I'm sure this will entertain someone. Fail culture is still a big part of YouTube, I believe. Fall damage? Are you kidding me? I'm all the way back at the start. Wonderful. At least everything I did in the level is still intact. It's not like I have to go redo everything. I know I can do this. I've already done this once. Does that count as a loss? Ah! Screw you! That was BS. I don't know why it always defaults to this one specifically. Alright, let's try this again. That music is starting to get on my nerves. It's so happy, yet I'm having such a hard time here. Why does the glove even have ball damage? It doesn't have any bones or anything. If anything, Glover should be mostly invincible. He's a magic glove too, I mean, come on. You know, a funny thought just occurred to me. The battle between Glover here and Cross Stitch. It's the battle of the left hand versus the right hand, isn't it? We aren't going to make any jokes to politics there because such things are beneath me, though. Okay, so I need to go back underwater. Oh, I can't transform while I'm on top of it, that's what it is. Alright, let's get this over with. I can definitely see why I didn't play much of this when me and my brothers rented this from the store all those years ago. It was probably just too hard for my... Man, how old was I at the time? I would have been more than 4 when this came out. And like, I couldn't even understand what was happening in Super Mario 64, so I wasn't going to understand a complex platformer like this. My brother must have been the one who played this. It's probably what I remember. If there was a game that I figured would be too hard or I wouldn't understand, that's how I would experience games back in the day, just watching my brother play them. These days, I just get really bored watching other people play a video game. And as I always say, I feel like you miss something if you don't play the game yourself, which is why I don't play these games from start to finish. The whole point of this live stream, this YouTube channel in general, is to encourage people to try the games themselves. Oh. Like, if it would just land on that platform instead of rolling. See, like, this is what I was talking about, the comparison to Billy Hatcher. In that game, how it would work is, if you needed to jump over a gap like that, you would jump, but instead of dribbling the egg, Billy would instead, there we go, jump with the egg, and you had the option to hit a button to send it into a roll, but Billy would still remain attached to the egg, so you just feel like you had more control there. Remember, those are rotating platforms, so I gotta be careful. And this chest is alive, but that's making a lot of people think of Dark Souls. Hit this switch. I did not mean to do that, just wanted to dribble it. There we go. Hey, that wasn't fair. Stupid chest. Gonna turn this into a bowling ball, leave it here. If you guys want to play with it, go right ahead. Nothing bad's gonna happen to it. I hate how the camera is fixed right now. I really hate fixed cameras in a platformer. Let me adjust the camera so I can see what I'm doing. Don't try to take control away from me. Oh, this is gonna be fun to get across. Now I gotta get down from here, because a sentient glove apparently has fall damage. Video game logic, it's so weird sometimes. No! I wanted to dribble it. Why did you think I wanted to throw it? Ugh. Like, how it should have been for that is A button should have been to dribble, and then to throw it, it should have been dedicated to the B button. It should have been mapped to both buttons. You don't want to put too many inputs on one button because then the controls get confused and crap like that happens. Well, it made it across, so oh well. Get to the highest point. There we go. Not even sure that'll make it to the other side. There we go. Now I just gotta make it across. Man, I don't want to get separated from the ball in this spot. Please, please, please do not hit the spikes. Sweet son of life's in a checkpoint. No! Why is dribble and throwing mapped to the same button? Oh! I mistimed that. I'm gonna switch to the ball bearing just to be safe. Actually... How do I get through here? Can I dribble over? No, I can't get enough height. Maybe I can use the bowling ball. Oh, I can. That's cool. Well, that's dangerous. Easy does it. Okay, so I can't kill that thing. I don't think I can get the ball over there without destroying it. So let's get back up this way. I don't think there's any point to me going any further. For the next 9 minutes, I would just be trying to get back to where it was, so I'm not even going to bother. Just going to call the stream right here. So, Glover. There is a lot I like about this game. I like the premise. I mean, it provides some really good context to everything that happens in the game. The presentation for the N64 is stellar, and it has a lot of unique ideas as far as 3D platformers go. But it is just such a pain in the butt to play, dude. Like, I feel like there's just too much of a disconnect between Glover and the ball. Like, if it was more like Billy Hatcher, where if you're in contact with, you know, the egg, which is the equivalent of the ball in this comparison, and you were, you know, connected to it as you were moving, thus giving you more control over it, I feel like Glover would be a lot better, but as is, it's just more of a pain to play than anything. It's not terrible. I definitely wouldn't call this a bad game, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who have mastered the ins and outs of this game and can just fly through these levels in their sleep, but I'm not one of them, and I have a feeling that my opinion is pretty common amongst a lot of gamers, because if you saw the Steam page, the re-release itself is getting a lot of mixed reviews. So I guess if you're a big N64 buff like I am, it's worth checking out at least once. But otherwise, I would just say skip it. Anyway, Steffi, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got a kick out of it, seeing me try and fail to play it. And she's going to be joining me for the next video, which is going to be related to a Sonic game, so stay tuned for that one. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight, guys. If you enjoyed tonight's content, please be sure to like and subscribe. I do these videos every Saturday, usually at 8 o'clock. And what I do is I pick a video game, just a random video game, and I play it for about an hour and talk about the design of it, from the gameplay principles, the controls, to the artistic design of it. I do not play games from start to finish, because I feel if you do that, you're missing something. But if that's how you choose to consume video games, then by all means continue to consume it in that manner. I just feel like it's better to actually play the game yourself. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight, guys. Hope you all have a good work week, and take care.